Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Let's dive directly into review of game number 11 between Gukesh and Dingleren for the World Chess Championship. The scores are currently equal with both players having 5 points each. So let's start. So Gukesh starts the game with the ready opening, which is knight to f3 और Ding reply करता है with d5. Then Gukesh strikes back with c4. This is the ready opening gambit. और Ding अभी डिक्लाइन कर देगा. He plays d4. तो अभी डिक्लाइन करने के बाद गुकेश प्लेस b4 जस्ट टू ग्रैब मोर स्पेस ऑन द क्वीन साइड. तो उसके बाद टिंग भाई बोलते हैं ऐसे कैसे. ही प्लेस c5 टू रूइन द पॉन स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ वाइट. गुकेश जस्ट इग्नोर्स इट. वो अपना e3 खेलता है. एंड नाउ द पोजिशन दैट इज रीच्ड इज कॉल्ड द रिवर्स ब्रोमफेल्ड गैम्बिट. क्योंकि ब्लैक कैन ऑल्सो रीच दिस पोजिशन, बट बिकॉज वाइट इज प्लेइंग इट, he is a tempo up because he has the first mover advantage. So Ding Bhai simply plays knight to f6, just a developing move. And then Gukesh thinks for a bit and he goes for a3. क्योंकि he has to strengthen the structure of queen side. मान लो कभी c captures b4 होता है, then he will take with the pawn and the structure remains intact for white. उसके बाद क्या? उसके बाद Ding starts stinging and he thinks for about 30-40 minutes. वो काफ़ी देर तक सोचता है and he comes up with a move bishop to g4. जैसे ही he plays g4, Gukesh confidently captures the pawn at e4 and Ding captures back the pawn at e4. After that, the pawn capture, Gukesh instantly challenges the bishop of Ding. So Ding decides to part ways with his bishop and Gukesh captures the bishop with his queen, keeping his pawn structure intact, simultaneously attacking the b2 pawn. So अभी Ding को खेलना पड़ता है c2 so that he could defend the b2 pawn. Then Gukesh plays d3, supporting the c4 pawn and maintaining a strong pawn structure on the queen side. Abhi you can see he maintains a ulta C kind of structure on the queen side and they control a lot of squares. So Ding ko has to do something. So he pushes the a5 pawn, challenging the structure, and Gukesh replies with pushing the b pawn, and Ding instantly replies with knight to d7. Abhi you can see the engine does not like Gukesh's position. It gives -2-3 for black because of the c5 square, right? Because वहाँ पे when the knight jumps, it can attack the d3 pawn, it can go to b3, from where it can attack the rook on a1. And you can also see the time difference between the players, as Gukesh has almost 1 hour more than Ding. So he decides to play the move g3 and he takes about 1 hour to play this move. So abhi you can see the time difference is gone. They both have almost the same time. Then Ding plays knight f to c5 and Gukesh goes bishop f to g2. Then Ding plays knight f to d7 and you can see the engine prefers Ding's position. So Gukesh castles here and Ding jumps in with his knight, attacking the d3 pawn and also Gukesh's queen. So अभी Gukesh को कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा, otherwise he is gonna be a pawn down for the entire game. So he thinks for a bit and then he goes for the move queen f4. Dingleren instantly plays the move rook a to e8 and he is defending his e4 pawn. And now on the next move he's gonna capture the d3 pawn and he's gonna be a pawn up. So Gukesh has to defend his d3 pawn and he plays rook to e1. But you can see the bar is in complete favor of black. But फिर भी black ऐसे ही pawn capture नहीं कर सकता. Because let's say knight captures pawn, then the bar shoots up. Can you think of the reason why? Because simply rook captures knight. Or the knight there on e5 cannot capture the rook back. क्योंकि अगर तुमने उस रुक को कैप्चर किया, your queen will be hanging. जैसा Hikaru says, the boat is gambit. You lose your queen and then you will go on to lose the game. So you cannot capture the pawn directly. So there are some other moves, you have to think about them. Here, Ding Liren thinks for a little bit and he makes an inaccuracy. Ding के लिए best move ये होता कि he simply puts his queen one square back all the way to b8. वहाँ पे it would have been defended by the rook और उसके बाद The pawn at d3 cannot be defended anymore. It would have been lost. और गुकेश एक बहुत ही बुरे पोजीशन में बचता उसके बाद पूरे गेम के लिए. बट एनीवेज ऐसा होता नहीं है. Ting does not find the best move in the position, and Gukesh instantly capitalizes to it and plays a4. Ting keeps on pushing his kingside pawns. Gukesh plays the move pawn to b6. Or Ting cannot directly capture the pawn because his knight on e5 would hang. So he has to play something else. So Ting decides to go for the move queen to d6. और जैसे ही Ting plays that move, Gukesh instantly plays that good move bishop to a3, pinning the knight to the queen and putting pressure on that knight. Now Ting has to react, so he plays the move bishop f to h3, attacking white's queen. So Gukesh just simply ignores it and captures the knight. Ting has to capture it back, and then again Gukesh plays another good move, that is queen to e4, aligning with the bishop, attacking black's b pawn. So here Ting has to take his knight back, and Gukesh plays knight to a3. And then here Ting again makes a slight mistake, and Gukesh takes back his knight, which is not liked by the engine. And then Ting captures a pawn, और अभी उसके पास एक pawn ज़्यादा है. Gukesh attacks his queen and he simply moves it back. And now Gukesh plays rook to b5, simply putting pressure on that corner pawn and controlling all the fifth rank. So it is a good move, like by the engine. Here Ding simply castles and Gukesh again brings his knight back. अभी देखो कि this move is not liked by the engine. It is getting to 0.00, जबकि पहले it is about 0.5 for white. और जैसे ही back आया it becomes 0.00. But let me tell you, this is one of the best moves played by Gukesh in this game, क्योंकि I think इसने Ding को obviously confuse कर दिया होगा. So here Ding plays the move rook to b8, and Gukesh jumps forward with his knight. Now Gukesh can go to c5, completing the knight's journey, जहाँ से वो knight can attack the pawn, can attack the rook. So moving the knight multiple times previously is going to be fruitful for Gukesh. And here Ding, I think, panics, or what, he blunders. Because let's say कि the knight jumps to c5 and Ding pushed the pawn thinking it is defended, you can simply capture the pawn, sacrificing your knight, and you can capture the g6 pawn with check, and no matter wherever the king move, you can capture the bishop like this. Yes. Or if else, if you want to prevent the check by blocking with the queen, it does not help either, because you can capture the other pawn with check and you get into a winning position. So the knight to c5 move does happen, and Ding has to think, because the knight, as Agad Matur says, is a dragon knight there. So Ding has to play defensive and he has to go rook to e7. There is no other choice for him. And Gukesh here plays rook to b1, which is given as an inaccuracy by the engine. Because here the engine wants Gukesh to directly capture the pawn by the knight. And once he captures the pawn, you can capture it with the rook. Black can capture it with the rook, and then it wants white to capture the knight by the queen. And once the queen takes back, you can capture the queen with white's bishop. And if black trades the rooks as well, you can capture it with the a pawn, and these two connected passers will for sure win you the game, and you are completely winning at this position. There is no play left for black. So This line does not happen, and Gukesh plays that move rook to b1, and that is given as an inaccuracy by the engine because there's one move that saves the game, or let's say makes the position a little bit easier for black, and that is knight jumping to b4. That simply disconnects the rook. You give up the pawn, but you hold your position. So here white can capture the pawn, but that does not happen, and Ding does not find that move, and worse than that, he blunders the game. He blunders it completely by moving the queen back as the knight is left hanging and there is no saving of that knight, and black will be a piece down for the rest of the game. Here Gukesh simply captures the knight at c6 with his queen, and you cannot capture white's queen back because if you capture it with the pawn, I'll capture your rook and your queen is pinned to the king, so you lose your queen. And if you wanna take back white's queen with black's queen, let's say, it is no different result because white will capture black's queen with his bishop, and you cannot capture back the bishop because you lose your rook and eventually the game, and white is in a much better position. So here Tingleren resigns the game and Gukesh takes the lead in the game with a point of 6-5. Hope you liked this review. If you liked it, please subscribe to my channel for more.